I'm Jim Hutchinson with the Fisherman magazine here along the Navesink River in New Jersey. It's part of the Monmouth County Two Rivers. The Navesink flowing east connects with the Shrewsbury River. Together they flow out into the mighty Raritan Bay. Now, in terms of striped bass, this particular river, the Navesink, holds a very important part of America's striped bass history. During westward expansion back in the late 1800s, 430 fingerling stripers were taken from the Navesink, shipped by rail car across to the west coast. Today's striped bass fishery in San Francisco Bay got started on those fingerlings that came from the Navesink. And it's not just westward expansion. A couple of hundred years before that, our nation's very first public school was founded at Plymouth Colony on a tax on striped bass. As a matter of fact, some of our first fisheries management occurred in the 1600s when our early American settlers were worried about the conservation of striped bass. So yeah, striped bass is part of the American culture. It's part of the DNA, if you will. So no disrespect to my friends in largemouth bass nation or those in Florida who love chasing tarpon and snook and redfish. But I'm of the opinion that striped bass is truly America's fish. So I had a distinct pleasure in early November of 2022 to fish with the American Sportfishing Association. Mike Waine, Policy Director at ASA, along with Gary Jennings with Keep Florida Fishing, they were in town for the meeting of the ASMFC in early November just down the road here in Long Branch. Together with my friend John DePersenaire from Viking Yachts, we jumped aboard Jersey Devil Sport Fishing out of the Navesink to look at some of those striped bass, and boy, oh boy, did my favorite American game fish come through in flying colors.
I hadn't fished up here much at all, really, so it was totally new for me. Got to run out with Brian Rice, our captain, and we put out some lines just, I think, southeast of the hook there, and did some trolling around for some big stripers on some eels. So that was a different technique that I've never done, but very productive. Big fish, a lot of fun with the group of guys here. So it was a good opportunity to experience what New Jersey fishing had to offer, you know? I'm the Atlantic Fisheries Policy Director for the American Sportfishing Association. And if you don't know us, we are the industry trade association representing essentially tackle manufacturers, but wholesalers, retailers, dealers, manufacturer reps, and we speak on behalf of the recreational fishing industry, big business, you know, 125 billion in economic impact and 55 million anglers across the nation. So it's important to have a voice in these policy discussions, and I specifically work on the government affairs team there, and my coverage area is the Mid-Atlantic and New England region. So it's great to get the opportunity to come and spend some time with the Fisherman magazine and get the opportunity to go out and catch some stripers. I'm from Massachusetts originally, Nantucket Island, and I grew up fishing, of course. And it was my senior year in high school. I was fishing down the docks at night, and I caught a fish. I brought it up on the dock, you know, take some pictures and whatever. And I thought it was a piece of seaweed on the side of it, and it ended up being one of the tags, those T tags that has the information that you call in. I had no idea that fish tagging was even a thing back then in high school. You know, it wasn't really something that I was focused on, but I found it really unique and fascinating that they did that. And so that started a really long journey for me. I went to undergrad to get a degree in marine biology, and then grad school for fisheries and wildlife sciences, and then worked my way up to the Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Commission, which is the governing body that manages a lot of the fisheries within the state of New Jersey, cooperatively along the coast, and became the F&P coordinator for striped bass. So that was like a full circle for me, catching that striped bass tagged in high school, going through a bunch of education, and then getting back to the commission and becoming the F&P coordinator for striped bass was a very unique cycle for me. And then working in the industry now, I think really it positioned me well to understand, you know, the dynamics of the policy, the players that make the decisions, and the species that we all love to fish for. So it's a win-win all the way around, and I really love what I do, and I owe it to where I'm from that's how I got on this path. So it's a unique story for me. The best part is that you know, the Gray Research tagging program, we got the opportunity to tag some fish today, and that's really what, you know, sparked the memory and wanted me to you know, encouraged me to share the stories. That's where it all started for me. So maybe, you know, there's some youngster out there waiting to catch one of those tags and start the journey all over again. So that's what it's all about, you know, keep America fishing.